Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrappy and Kane. Today I'm sharing two layouts with you using the last bits and pieces that I have of the Hearth and Home collection from Simple Stories. I actually have enough left at the end to create one more layout, and I believe I found the photos that I'm going to use for it if I get a chance to by the end of the month, which I probably should be able to finish it off. Here I'm showing you an acrylic piece that I got from Some Assemblage Required, and it's a little rolling pin and a spatula, a wooden spoon, and a whisk. Um, so all little items that you would use for making tortillas, which is what this layout is about, making homemade tortillas that my mom makes that are actually very, very yummy and are something that she learned how to make from her mom and dad and also her grandparents. And I will include the recipe on it once the layout is complete. I have not put the layout or I have not put the recipe on it as of yet. Um, so right now I'm just using my punch to punch out the top of the paper, and this just makes it look like it was pulled out of a notebook, which I think is kind of cool for a recipe. So that's what I'm going to use here at the top. I'm inking it up with Stays On black ink, and I'm just going to go all the way around, and I'm going to attach it onto the black cardstock background. And I was just kind of dirtying it up right there when you saw me run my um, little, what is that, little dauber across the paper and kind of make it look more like worn paper, I guess. So here I'm going to add this right here. I'm going to leave a little border around the edge. There's about a half an inch border around all the way around, except for at the bottom where the paper is tore. I'm going to add these hearts, which are orange and green, down at the bottom. And since this paper is only 6 by 8, I'm going to have to piece it together to make it complete. And it's okay. You can see the seam, like where I piece the two papers together and they meet kind of not really the middle. It's like part way. It's not quite the middle of the paper, but you get the idea. You will be able to see where it meets, and that's okay. I'm okay with it because once again, it's supposed to be, you know, old and dingy, and it's okay. So I'm okay with it not having a perfect seam across the papers. And I'm just going to tuck this one in over here. And since I already attached the notebook paper down, I have to kind of shimmy it underneath there. But it works out. It ends up tucking in just perfectly. And then I have to cut off this little side here and have to go and ink it up since I kind of cut off the piece that was inked. So I want it to, have a smooth transition right there. So, but you can see where the paper, meets up there in the middle. And then this one here is the like newspaper print paper. This was from Minte, and this is off of the cover sheet, I believe. The other side is the cover sheet. And I'm just going to map my photo on white cardstock, and then I'm going to place it on top of that newspaper print. But I couldn't decide if it was going to get a green background or this black flower print one. I go with the black flower print instead of the green one, and there was no rhyme or reason. I just preferred that one instead. It still has green in it, so it still matches with the heart paper down at the bottom. That little button there says Grandma's Recipe, and it's from Scrap and Happy Studio. I got it from Some Assemblage Required, though. She used to include them in her monthly box. I'm not sure if she still does. I think she does. But I flattened it. I learned that from Janet Fritz over at Galaxy Girl Creations. I put it through my Big Kick, and it just flattened it completely flat. And that's just because they add a lot of bulk to a layout. So when you flatten them, though, it makes it a little bit more level. It's probably about the same height, a little bit less than that acrylic piece that I put on the photo. And this is a digital photo, obviously, of tortillas, so I'm not too concerned about the metal touching the photo or the acrylic piece touching the photo. I was just covering up blank space and decided it was okay. And then this paper here are the little recipe, or sorry, the photo mat actually is a little bit too big. I'm going to end up cutting it down here in a minute. I tried to put tortillas down at the bottom, but the black on the black with these chipboard letters does not work. So I need it to be up on the cream paper instead. So that's where you saw me pull off the button, and I'm going to reattach it back on, make it a little bit smaller. As you see my son grabbing my phone off my desk. Obviously, he was trying to show me something, and I'm just going to make sure the letters fit up here, and they do fit perfectly. Once I get them in place, then I can go ahead and attach my photo down, and I will add the tortillas, and they do have a sticky back on them, but these letters are from 2010, I believe is what the package says, and they're from Basic Gray. They definitely don't stick anymore. The backing part sticks to them, but they will not stick to the layout. So I definitely add a little bit of liquid glue and then lay them down. And while I do that, I did finish this collection, like I said, and as I was putting layouts away, I found a few more photos that I think will work with the rest of the collection, and I can pretty much get it out of my stash. I think I'll have a few pieces left, but none of the papers left, so that's good. I could always just put the embellishments in my Simple Stories stash, and one day they might get used, and one day they just might get donated. I haven't decided that far ahead yet, but I will after I make the last layout. And so here I'm going to use these doodlebug letters that I've been using pretty much since last month. There's a lot of letters on here, and I actually need to order some more in different colors. I think I'm going to have to order some more in a different size, or different colors, sorry, not different size. They do come in other colors. And again, these are from Doodlebug, and I'm not even sure if these are still available. Hopefully I can find them online somewhere. The made with I didn't glue down just yet because I want it to add love and add tortillas made with love, because homemade tortillas are the best. And everybody's homemade tortillas taste differently, and pretty much that's because they're made by hand. So I do have room there, as you can see, to add the recipe. And our recipe will be by handfuls and pinches, because there's really no measurements when we make tortillas. So, but I know there is, such recipe online or whatever for tortillas. But real homemade tortillas are made by a handful of this and a pinch of that. So that's what the recipe will be. And I'm going to add sequins. Again, these are fall cider from Spiegelmom Scraps. And pretty much I used a whole lot of the bigger orange ones, the pink ones, green, and then brown, and just mixed them all around. I wasn't very particular. I just put them down. And then I added also little foam hearts, one in between the O on tortillas, and then little hearts over here. So here in just a minute, after I share these, I'm going to start on the next layout. This layout is of my great Aunt Margaret holding my older sister. And I do have 3 photos here, but 2 of them are almost exactly the same. They're just slightly different. Neither one of them are looking at the camera in either photo. One is a little bit more blurry than the other. So I just chose the one that's not as blurry, and I'm going to actually put only 2 of the photos on the layout. I wanted to use those cut file flowers from Not Just for Boys that I've had in my stash for a few years. And they're in 2 different sizes, and they kind of sort of match the flowers that are on the paper, but not really. So I actually end up using the black paper with the green flowers as the photo mat around the layout, and then I'm going to put the wood grain paper as the background. So these are the papers that I have left. This yellow one, I still have quite a bit of it left since I use it mainly just to mat the photo or the flowers, not mat them, but trim it out and back the cut file. That's what it's called. And then I'm going to use scraps to do the leaves and pretty much use up a lot of the scraps that I have left. So here's my background. So I did the black paper with the flowers on it, and then I did the brown wood grain paper. And I did not gut that paper just because it's not really my favorite. And I might regret that when I go to do the other photos that I have to do, but um, it is what it is. I'll probably have to dig in my stash for a background photo or a background paper for the other layout. But as of right now, I'm okay with it. These flowers here, you can see I already backed both of them. I did lose footage on that. I thought I was recording. I wasn't. But the way that I do it is I trace around it, then I cut it out, and then I put it on the background. And then if I have to trim anything off, I trim it off. Some people glue them down first and then cut around them, but that doesn't work very well for me. So usually I just trace it with a pencil and then I cut it out. I'm going to add one at the top, one at the bottom, kind of on the side. And with the little leaves like sticking off the edge, they were kind of awkward to put down, but I make them work. And I'm going to put the two photos like right in the middle, and then I'm going to put my title down at the bottom. And again, I don't have any journaling for these photos. My mom really doesn't remember this. My great aunt Margaret is my grandma's sister, and she doesn't really remember why she was there. She was visiting when they were there, but she doesn't remember why she came. So she didn't live in the same state as them. She actually lives in the same state as me now, and we don't talk to her. I've actually never spoken to her, and I've never met her, to tell you the truth. So that's kind of weird and odd that we live in the same state as her, but we don't really communicate with her. We're not very close, obviously. Um, Anyways, so I added the two photos up here, and then this memories I'm going to use as part of the title. I'm going to use another one here that says beautiful. So it's just going to say beautiful memories. And then these little, I don't know what you call those, I guess little words. One says love much, then it says laugh often and live well. And I just thought that was kind of cute, something to add to the layout. And pretty much that's it. I'm going to add a few of the cornucopia sequins, which are over there on the side, ready for me to add to the layout. I was trying to figure out a place to put this little foam black flower, and I decided to put it up here by the photos. And then I'm just going to add sequins in 3 spots by the flowers and call it good. That's going to be it. And that's going to be the end of these photos from this dinner in Chicago with my family. And now it's in the family album. I'll hold it up, show you a little close-up, and then I do have some close-up stills right after I share what I have left. So this is all I have left from this collection. Like I said, I still have a pretty big chunk of the yellow paper and then a little piece of the wood grain. These ones here I'm actually going to put back with the collection they go with. But I am going to keep that was paper rose, the green paper. I have a little piece of the black flower. And the Minte papers I leave in there also. But the other ones I put back with their scrapbook.com papers because I'm going to use that later in the month. So here's the close-ups of the last layout I created with my Aunt Margaret. I will have another layout tomorrow. Actually, I'll have two. I'm not sure if I'll combine them together. It depends on how long the video is going to be. But I will be using the same collection for both of those layouts. So it'll either be a two-part or a single part with both layouts. So I will see you then.